Would you keep believing in your vision, even when everyone around you despises it? Imagine receiving a Kalinga dream that pulses silently within your chest, and in return you receive scorn from those you love the most. Would it be courage or foolishness? Most give up before the seed even takes root, but some remain, even in the pit, even in prison, even forgotten, because they know time does not erase the truth, it only ripens it. Today, we'll uncover the Stoic message behind Joseph's dreams and how it can transform the way you face silence, waiting, and rejection. Stay until the end, because this story might change how you interpret the darkest moments of your life. And if you're searching for more than ready-made answers, if you seek meaning, direction, and timeless wisdom for your days, consider subscribing to this channel. Here, every story is a silent compass for the soul. Joseph was just a young man, but there was something in him that couldn't be hidden, something even he couldn't name, yet others sensed as a threat. The light in his eyes didn't come from vanity, but from a silent flame, the kind that burns in the chosen before they even know they'd been chosen. He was Jacob's favorite son, not just out of favoritism, but because there was a seed of difference in him, a sensitive heart, attuned to signs, and a mind open to visions that didn't yet exist. Jacob gave him a coat of many colors, not just a piece of fabric, but a symbol of love, of destiny, of distinction. While his brothers tended the flocks under the scorching sun, Joseph walked among them as one who didn't fully belong, as one who carried something more, and, precisely because of that, he unsettled them, and what is special is often rejected. Then, one night, a dream came to him. He saw himself in a field. Sheaves of wheat rose around him, and his brothers' sheaves bowed down to his. As if that weren't enough, a second dream came. The sun, the moon, and 11 stars bowed before him. It was symbolic, mysterious, bigger than him. Joseph told them, maybe because he needed to share it, maybe because he didn't yet know that some things must be kept in silence. He wasn't seeking applause, he didn't want glory, he just spoke. But sometimes, light disturbs more than darkness, and what his brothers heard wasn't a prophecy, it was an insult. They didn't see what he saw, they didn't feel what he felt, and so, they hated him even more. They didn't just hate the dream, they hated the reflection of what they knew they were not. They hated the fact that he carried a promise, and so they stopped calling him by his name. Instead, they used the title they thought would shame him, the dreamer. But in time, that name would become a crown. The betrayal of the brothers. On a seemingly ordinary day, Jacob asked Joseph to check on his brothers in the fields. Maybe he wanted to bring them closer. Maybe he wanted to bring them closer. Maybe he trusted too much. But what Joseph found was final rejection. Spotting him from afar, they said, "Here comes the dreamer," and they plotted his downfall. They seized him violently, tore the coat that set him apart, and threw him into a pit with no water, no escape, no sound. The earth was dry, the sky absent. Joseph fell, and it wasn't just his body that fell, his soul did too. There, in the depths, far from everything, the first great question arose. Now what? Where is the meaning? He had trusted, he had faith, he believed the dream was more than a nighttime vision. But now, there was only echo, and the pain of being discarded by those who should have protected him. Where is God when we are betrayed by the ones who should have shielded us? The brothers hesitated to kill him, but for convenience, they sold him. 20 pieces of silver, as if a dreamer's soul could be bought, as if destiny could be bargained. Taken to Egypt, he became just another slave. Just another face among thousands, nameless, storyless, voiceless, and yet he kept dreaming. Not with arrogance, but with faith, silently, steadily, alone, until another injustice, falsely accused, misunderstood, silenced, thrown into a prison where time dragged like an invisible burden. Years passed, years when the promise seemed dead, years when no one spoke of him, years when he could have given up, but he did not forget. His faith didn't shout. It endured. The elevation that comes from silence. It was therein the most forgotten of places. That time began to reveal what pain had shaped. Joseph interpreted dreams, but he also interpreted silence. He learned to hear what wasn't spoken. To understand that not everything happens in the time of desire, but everything moves, even when we don't see it. His faithfulness, his calm, his self-mastery caught attention. Pharaoh summoned him, and Joseph, the dreamer of the pit, interpreted the king's dream, but not just that. He revealed wisdom, capability, vision, and the unthinkable happened. He was lifted up from slave, to governor, from prisoner, to royal advisor, from forgotten, to essential, not by force, not by outcry, but by steadfastness. And when he faced his brothers again, the ones who had torn him, sold him, discarded him, he didn't retaliate. He didn't raise his voice. He didn't seek justice with his own hands. He simply said, "You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good." Genesis 5:0-20. There was no bitterness left, only clarity. Understood. The suffering wasn't punishment, it was preparation. The prison was a workshop. The betrayal was a catalyst. The silence was destiny's waiting room. And the dream wasn't just about him, it was about what he would endure to fulfill something greater. When we look at Joseph's story, we don't just see a biblical character. We see the portrait of a human being shaped by silence, molded by rejection, and strengthened in solitude. He faced deep pain, betrayed by his own brothers, sold as merchandise, imprisoned for a crime he didn't commit. He watched freedom slip away. He saw the promise grow distant, and yet he remained whole. This is the essence of Stoic philosophy, not the denial of pain, but the transcendence of pain. Not control over events, but mastery over oneself in the face of them. Epictetus, who also knew slavery and injustice, said with timeless clarity, "It's not the events themselves that disturb us, but our judgments about them." This statement perfectly mirrors Joseph's journey. He couldn't stop his brothers' hatred. He had no voice against the lies. He found no immediate comfort in his prison, but he also refused to let those experiences deform him. He didn't choose the pit, but he chose his posture inside it. He didn't choose the chains, but he chose clarity within them. This is the inner freedom the Stoics called autarky, the moral self-sufficiency of one who doesn't depend on external things to maintain integrity. Joseph understood even, without philosophical words, that his true power lay in his response to the world. While others saw him as defeated, he grew stronger within. Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic emperor, wrote, "When you wake up in the morning, think, 'Today I will meet ingratitude, envy, betrayal, but none of these can harm me, because no one can corrupt me.'" Joseph lived this principle millennia before it was written, surrounded by betrayal and neglect. He didn't become corrupt. He didn't surrender to bitterness or seek revenge. His strength was silent. His virtue, invisible to the immediate eye, yet powerful enough to sustain him until the day his vision was fulfilled. Seneca, another pillar of Stoicism, said, "It is when we are challenged that we show who we are." Joseph was challenged in every way, in soul, in hope, in patience, and yet, or precisely because of it, he revealed the nobility of the spirit. Even in prison, he was free. Even among slaves, he stood out. Because true freedom isn't the absence of external shackles, it's the absence of internal chains. He turned waiting into preparation, turned silence into inner listening, turned suffering into service. Joseph didn't cultivate expectations, he cultivated faithfulness. And this is a fundamental Stoic distinction. 2. Hope with faith, but without demands. To act with purpose, but without attachment to outcomes. As Epictetus also said, happiness and freedom begin with one principle. Some things are within our control, and some are not. Joseph's story confronts us with this same truth. We can't control those who reject us. We can't command the timing of the harvest, but we can control how we choose to wait. This is the heart of Stoicism, not reacting as the world expects, but responding as the soul desires. Joseph teaches us that there is greatness in enduring with dignity. There is virtue in not despairing in the face of injustice, and there is wisdom in not rushing time that hasn't yet blossomed. Today, this message still lives. It pulses in the souls of those who've also been betrayed, forgotten, disbelieved, in the minds that carry dreams no one understands. And so, I leave you with questions that echo deeply. What pit are you facing today? What invisible prison is trying to convince you your dreams are over? Are you choosing maturity in the face of pain, or silent resentment? Are you waiting wisely, or just surviving time? This is the virtue of endurance, not blind pride, but lucid serenity. Not the denial of pain, but the acceptance that transforms. Not resignation, but wise action. Joseph shows us that the path to fulfilling dreams will inevitably be marked by losses. but not empty losses, fertile ones, because it's in the silence of waiting that courage is polished. It's at the bottom of the pit that the soul's depth is dug. Stoic philosophy invites us to exactly this, to not fear pain, to not flee waiting, to not surrender to darkness, but to keep the inner light steady. And Joseph, the dreamer, is a reflection of that light, an eternal symbol that resisting with dignity is, in itself, a way of winning. And what about you? Are you living in your own invisible prison? Maybe not a physical pit, but an emotional jail, a mental cell, a spiritual shadow, a space where time seems to stand still, where the only thing moving is doubt, where silence screams louder than any voice. Perhaps you're waiting for something you can't put into words, but that burns inside you like an insistent spark. Something you once saw not with your eyes, but with your spirit, a subtle, almost ethereal dream that reveals itself in intuitions, in silent chills, in flashes of hope in the midst of darkness, but no one else seems to see it. Your family might call it delusion, your friends might laugh or walk away, and the environment you're in might feel designed to extinguish light, not ignite it. You've felt the sting of contempt, haven't you? The pain of trusting and being betrayed, of giving your all, and being rejected, of expecting support and receiving silence. You've seen doors close without explanation, heard voices mocking when you tried to rise, been called crazy, dreamer, weak, and yet the flame hasn't gone out. Why? Because what was born inside you doesn't depend on others' approval. It's bigger than the skeptics. Gaze. Older than fear, deeper than any wound. And then comes the question that cuts like a knife. What if this silence that troubles you is your preparation? What if it's not abandonment, but training? What if this absence is a divine call to look within? What if this unanswered time is the space where your strength is being born? Maybe you're not being punished, but shaped. Maybe time isn't against you, but working for you. You just haven't realized it yet. And another question arises. Who betrayed you? And have you not yet forgiven? Because as long as resentment lives in your heart, no dream can truly take root. Bitterness is an invisible shackle. It keeps you chained to the past, even if your feet are walking toward the future. Forgiving isn't forgetting. It's not pretending nothing happened. Forgiving is saying, you no longer have power over my soul. It's freeing yourself from poison that keeps dripping, while the other person has long moved on. And then comes the question that might hurt the most. Have you been responding to suffering with rage or with maturity? Rage is easy, shouting, blaming, running away. Anyone can do that. But maturity? Maturity is enduring without hardening, hurting without growing bitter, accepting without giving up. Joseph had every reason to quit, every reason to become cold, vengeful, faithless, but he chose another path, the hardest one, the noblest one. He waited, and while waiting, he served, he grew, he listened, he understood. It wasn't a miracle, it was a process. His faith wasn't loud, it was made of constancy, resilience, silent faithfulness too, purpose. And when the day finally came, when the dream manifested, he didn't shout, I won. He didn't climb to the throne with pride, he climbed with purpose, because he understood that the dream was never just about him. It was about what he could offer the world, the lives he would save, the people he would lift. And what about your dream? Could it also be bigger than you? Could this pain, this waiting, this restlessness that visits you in the night be preparation for a greater calling? I invite you now to ask yourself, what is my silent dream? Why does it still live, even when everything discourages it? Am I preparing or just complaining about time? Can I turn my pain into depth? Can I turn silence into wisdom? Joseph's journey teaches us something simple yet powerful. Waiting may feel empty, but it's in this seeming void that the soul takes root. Adversity may feel like the end, but it's the soil where greatness grows. And true victory isn't in applause but in faithfulness to the vision given to us, even when no one else believes in it. If today you feel like you're at the bottom of a pit, remember, the pit isn't your eternal prison. It's the womb where your strength is being formed. Silence isn't punishment, it's a chamber of revelation, and the dream no one else sees is exactly the one that will change everything. The wise man doesn't choose the easiest path. He doesn't seek shortcuts or pretend the journey will be free of shadows. He honors the path given to him, no matter how hard it seems, even when silence threatens to crush the spirit, when forgetfulness tries to erase the memory of dreams. He remains steady, unshaken, silent, because deep in his soul, he knows every shadow, no matter how dark, is also a sign of the light to come. That darkness prepares the ground for the purest brilliance, that true power isn't in avoiding storms, but in learning to dance in the rain, with serenity and courage. If this story has touched something deep in you, if it has awakened a silent flame, a forgotten hope, consider joining this channel. Here, every story is a silent compass for the soul, a beacon for those seeking self-mastery, serene strength, the balance born of inner stillness. Join us on this journey of timeless wisdom, where philosophy isn't just thought but lived, and where every challenge is an invitation to awaken the giant within. Thank you for being here. Until next time, where new stories will reveal more of the power that lives in you.